and Wallis Punua of Lihue have performed countless Hawaiian and Polynesian shows in the previous 4 decades. Victor's magnificent baritone voice and charming personality complemented Ku'ule's fluid hula and radiant smile. The stories of this well-known yet humble musical family are heartwarming. We are so grateful to the Punua Ohana for sharing their memories and their thoughts on perpetuating Hawaiian music.
Aloha mokihana ua o Kauai vilia me kamai le lau lili mai le lili he ui.
We got married in 1953. I called up my girlfriend at the girls' school, and I told her, Marlene's cousin called me, so she wanted to know if I could take her to the dance. Should I go? She said, oh yeah. So, well, that was a start. So we met, and that was 1951, February 3, 1951. Went to dance, and we've been together since. My wife was dancing in Honolulu, for Kent Gerard, and they were professionally, and they were dancing at all the Waikiki hotels, Queen Surf and the Moana and the Royal and all that. And then she also danced with Auntie Io, at the down the Beachcombers, and she was still a minor yet. But in 1954, I moved to Kauai. My wife was expecting Victor Jr. then, and he was born in October, and then about November, December, one of the Yasuda twins, Yasuda store in Kapaa, they asked my wife if she would teach them hula. So she started teaching them. They were her first students. Every time they'd ask her to dance, and they says, oh, do you have a musician? She says, yes. And she'd come home and say, you're going to play for me. I said, I'm not. Because I couldn't play that good, But anyway, when we went to a function, and she goes up, she said, my husband's going to play for me, so I got to come up there. Started playing like that, That was really, now it's fun, but then it wasn't fun. My grandfather started with the Royal Hawaiian Band probably about 1900. And then he retired in 1931, and he was doing a lot of the arrangements. He arranged music and he wrote music for the churches. He was asked to be the leader, and he directed the Kamakua Maoloa Church in Kalihi and the Kaneohe Congregational Church. And he was asked to help other churches, which he did. And he and my grandmother both really. And she would go on the piano and then start playing, and he would write all the notes. And if she had a new song, what she'd do is she didn't really write the song. She would say, do, do, mi, do, and he would pick it up and write it. So the two of them were really, they loved music. She could play any instrument.
Sophisticated, who's your chance? Do your dance while melody runs, so dance to the music sweet. Soon you will repeat. Sophisticated hula is the talk of the town. Sophisticated hula is the talk of the town.
The show that we have now, actually, before that we were doing a lot of, free kind, community kind, and down at the park and whatnot. She had her students, so they all could dance. And in 1961, Dachi Kinimaka was he was the entertainment director at Kauai Surf, so he called me one night. He says, Vic, he says, why don't you folks come down and do the show over here? You know, we have one night open. So I told him, oh, okay, I'll talk to my wife. So I told my wife, she said, okay, let's go. I said, no, I don't want to go. You know, I'm the negative guy. You know, I said, I don't want to go because we don't have musicians. So I called Dutchie and said, Dutchie, we don't have musicians. He said, well, it's okay, I got musicians for you. You can play with them, and Bill Lucidarm and Jimmy Watson, three of us. And so we started like that. So we went one night. He liked it so much, he says, gee, can you guys play more nights? So I said, well, yeah, I guess so. So we started doing 2 nights, 3 nights. Pretty soon we were doing 6 nights. So we were there for 12 and a half years at Kauai Surf. And then from there went to Club Med for another 5 years. And then another 12 and a half years at Coconut Beach with Sheraton and Holiday Inn. Well, all our kids were all in the show, so, you know, they were ready.
How important do you feel that to preserve old Hawaiian music?
Well, I think it's important, and it's nice if you know, you could hand it down to the children and all. And it's actually my wife that's really the one that carries on those traditions, and you know, because of her hula, and gets us all involved in that. Yeah.
Just like how my father got involved. My mother said we needed a bass player. I didn't know how to play bass. So I turned on the record and listened and kept playing and playing and playing. Because even at Kamehameha schools, I was primarily, I guess, involved with the glee club and the band. So I played instruments. Like my grandfather, I played the saxophone. And then I was in the glee club. And I think my interest was more in the directing and conducting rather than actually being one of the musicians.
Well, I'm fortunate because I'm the youngest. I have a lot of historians to check my dates against, you know, and they do correct me when I'm a little off. But I think my introduction was being called up to the stage to play the cracker cans. You know, that part of the Tahitian ensemble there, be the cracker cans, and I had my own cracker can that one of the musicians painted. Yeah, painted orange for me, and you know, that's a big deal. I mean, it's almost like you're a rock star today. Yeah. Mom would always encourage me. She would always tell me, you know, you got to go learn the steel guitar, and you know, brings up another interesting fact. I was more interested in listening to Bob Marley and you know, the rock and roll scene. Mom was persistent. She always told me, no, you got to learn from steel guitar, and you know. There was just a handful of steel guitar players, I thought, back in the late 70s, 80s. And so today I can see, you know, how a lot of that has passed on. I mean, really, just by ear. Here I was about 20 years old, and at that age, really looking back and appreciating the music that they played, you know. So it's not really going forward and being interested in other types of music, but really listening to what they were playing and seeing how complicated and intricate they played, and how much it blended so well together in those old recordings of Hawaii Calls and you know, Uncle Barney and Jules Assi. Mom and Dad really instilled how to, you know, make it Ohana. I mean, my wife dances too, and our son, you know, they just, if they're around, they're going to do something. They're going to put one malo on, and they're going to play the drums, or, you know, like Wallis, he's still carrying it on. And so all of them was good. What we can learn is up to us and how far you want to take it.
How do you feel about the preservation of Hawaiian music?
Well, I feel it's very important. I feel it's important because, I think more so because I know I've been exposed to it. I've learned how to play, you know, the steel guitar and the different instruments. So it's important for me as somebody who knows how to do that to pass it on. I think as far as the other, you know, our children and the next generation learning it, as far as you know, having that appreciation for the music, I think really is something caught, yeah, rather than taught.
Peni hia I nei ina pali E hopili anga me Kauai Me I pono heno hea I ka moli Ka hoene mai no a ke kai Me ala e I mahiana E hui mai no Kaua la e pili Kaua loku kawana ohana lei Kaua loku kawana ohana lei
I actually started drumming back when I was like a little boy with my mom's halau. And I guess I was kind of the designated drummer for the family. So over the years to the 70s, and I'd be the drummer. And like my dad said, my mom always had some of the top people come throughout Hawaii. And after seeing the masters come down from Tahiti and do their stuff, my brother Eddie and I, we just dissected the drumming down to the very basics. And from there, we started training our drummers. I think I got a lot of my mom's genes. So what happens is my wife, she dances the hula, and I'm kind of like my mom, where always asking my my wife and my sons to get involved with the show. So my wife dances, and she also teaches the hula, which is fantastic because she actually learned the ancient hulas and the modern from my mom firsthand. So my wife Shauna is actually our hula connection to my mom, and amazingly she's done a fantastic job there. And I do the chanting, and my sons are involved as well. Our halau is also very involved with the traditional Hawaiian music as well as the ancient dances. So we're privileged enough to perform at and invited to the Merry Monarch.
And your opinion about the new music today? The new music that the Hawaiians, the young kids are playing?
I just had a chat with some young upcoming musicians, and they're very big in the reggae music. My opinion is those young Hawaiians and those of our ages, and even kupunas, we really need to encourage, and those younger ones need to take it upon themselves to learn the Hawaiian music, play their Hawaiian music first. They can always play reggae music, rock and roll, whatever it is, jazz, but if our people do not take hold of it and malama the music, it's not going to be around. That's the bottom line. So I encourage the young people to don't be ashamed of the Hawaiian music. Play the Hawaiian music, and they will really see that they'll have an effect, larger effect on kupunas, children, youth, people of all ages.
Hallelujah.